It is 10:47 in the morning. You are standing in front of the Fashion Show Mall, one of the most iconic, massive retail spaces on the entire West Coast. You expect to see the doors swinging open, the smell of fresh coffee, and tourists flooding in to spend their money. But instead, you are met with something that shouldn't exist on the Las Vegas Strip. Silence, locked doors, a ghost town. Management recently, and very quietly, pushed the opening time back to 11 a.m.
Think about what that actually admits. It means that for a city that used to operate 24/7, it is no longer profitable to even turn on the lights or pay staff for the morning shift. The heartbeat of this city is slowing down. And looking at these locked doors, you have to ask yourself, how did it get this bad, this fast? This isn't just about a mall opening an hour late. This is a symptom of a much darker disease spreading through the entire American economy, starting right here in America's playground. The Fashion Show Mall was supposed to be the unshakable titan of retail. But when you walk through these empty halls, you aren't just looking at a slow business day. You are looking at a betrayal. The corporations that run this town broke the unwritten rule. They thought they could squeeze every last cent out of the customer, replace hospitality with fees, and that we wouldn't notice. But the ugly truth is finally out. The tourists aren't just annoyed, they are gone. And what's left behind isn't a luxury destination, but a hollow shell that is destroying itself from the inside out. Stick with me, because today we aren't just looking at empty storefronts. I'm going to walk you through the 7 undeniable pieces of evidence that prove this abandonment is permanent. We are going to dig into why Starbucks, a company that basically prints money, decided to cut its losses and run from this location. We will connect the dots between the 15,000 massive layoffs at Verizon and the empty hotel rooms on the Strip. By the end of this video, you won't just see a quiet mall. You'll see the beginning of the end for the Las Vegas economy as we know it. Part 1. The 11 a.m. silence. First, let's truly understand the gravity of what is happening with the hours of operation at this massive complex. On the surface, shifting an opening time from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. might sound like a minor administrative adjustment, perhaps just a tweak for efficiency. But in the world of high-stakes retail real estate, specifically on the Las Vegas Strip, losing an hour of operation is catastrophic. It is an admission of defeat. The reality on the ground is starker than any press release could admit. Walking through the Fashion Show Mall just minutes before noon feels less like strolling through a premier shopping destination and more like trespassing in a library after hours. The corridors are vast, beautifully lit, and completely empty. There is a haunting quality to it. You see store employees leaning against counters, checking their phones, not because they are lazy, but because there is literally no one to serve. The morning rush that used to define the energy of Vegas, the families grabbing breakfast, the early risers hunting for deals before the heat kicks in, has evaporated. This silence screams one thing: operational insolvency during daylight hours. The math simply doesn't work anymore. The cost of electricity, security, and staffing for that single morning hour now outweighs the potential revenue from customers. It signals a complete collapse of the casual shopper demographic. The mall has effectively become a ghost town in broad daylight, keeping its doors locked because the people outside simply do not have the money to make unlocking them worthwhile. It is a tangible, physical manifestation of a receding economy. Part 2. The Starbucks indicator. If the late opening times are the symptom, the shuttered storefronts are the diagnosis. And nothing illustrates this terminal illness quite like the Starbucks indicator. We tend to think of Starbucks as the cockroach of the corporate world, Impossible to kill, present on every corner, a guaranteed profit machine. So, when you walk past a prime location in a major mall and see the iconic green siren removed, leaving behind nothing but a dark, empty shell, you need to pay attention. Starbucks didn't close this location because they forgot how to sell coffee. They closed it because the foot traffic required to sustain their high-volume, low-margin business model has vanished. This particular closure is a monument to corporate retreat. Think about the implications. A cup of coffee is the smallest luxury, the last thing people usually cut from their budget. If visitors to the fashion show mall aren't even willing to shell out $7 for a latte, they certainly aren't going to be walking into the luxury boutiques next door to drop thousands on handbags or watches. This is the canary in the coal mine choking to death. When a corporate giant with the most sophisticated market data in the world looks at a location on the Las Vegas Strip and says, "We cannot make money here," it is the ultimate vote of no confidence. It proves that the recession isn't coming. It is already here, sitting quietly behind the drywall of a boarded-up coffee shop, signaling that the discretionary spending power of the average American tourist has hit rock bottom. Part 3. The Corporate Exodus Ripple Effect. But to understand why the mall is empty and why Starbucks fled, we have to look thousands of miles away from the Nevada desert, into the human resources departments of major American companies. The emptiness you see in Vegas is the direct result of the corporate exodus happening across the country, specifically the white-collar recession that mainstream media is ignoring. The most glaring example is Verizon, but they are just the tip of the iceberg. Verizon recently announced they are cutting 15,000 jobs. Let's put a human face on that number and understand why this destroys Las Vegas. These aren't just statistics. These are project managers, mid-level executives, and tenured engineers making $80,000 to $120,000 a year. This specific demographic is the absolute lifeblood of Las Vegas tourism. These are the people who, in years past, had the disposable income to book a 4-day weekend trip, stay at the Mirage or the Venetian, eat at nice steakhouses, and shop at the fashion show mall. They are the definition of the middle class that the CEO of MGM Resorts so desperately claims to want. Now, those 15,000 families are in survival mode. But it's not just Verizon. Look at the tech sector. Look at Intel. Look at Dell. We are witnessing a massive contraction in the upper middle class workforce. The ripple effect is immediate and devastating. When a family loses its primary income, or even lives in fear of the next round of cuts, the annual Vegas vacation is the very first expense to be slashed from the budget. It is classified as non-essential luxury spending. The abandonment of Las Vegas didn't start on the Strip. It started in the boardrooms of corporate America. The ghost town inside the fashion show mall is just the final destination of a nationwide economic contraction. The customers aren't just choosing not to come. They have been financially erased from the equation. Part 4. The international collapse. The economic pain isn't just domestic. It has crossed borders. And the most alarming signal is the severance of our northern lifeline. For decades, Canadian tourists have been the unofficial 51st state of the Las Vegas economy. They were the reliable, high-spending demographic that filled these mall corridors during the winter months when domestic travel slowed down. But that lifeline has been severed, and the wound is deep and potentially fatal for these retailers. Air Canada has quietly but aggressively slashed its flight capacity to the US Sunbelt for the winter of 2025 and 2026. This isn't just a schedule adjustment, it is a capital withdrawal. We are talking about tens of thousands of high-propensity spenders who are simply vanishing from the ecosystem. But the reason goes deeper than flight schedules. It comes down to brutal math and a destroyed value proposition.
The Canadian dollar has weakened significantly, creating a massive barrier to entry. Think about the psychology of this. With the currency exchange rate punishing them, a Canadian tourist is effectively paying a 35 to 40% tax on every single dollar they spend here. That $20 burger, it costs them $28. That $300 hotel room, it's over $400. When you combine that currency hit with the exorbitant resort fees, parking fees, and inflated menu prices Vegas now charges, the math stops making sense. It used to be that Vegas was a cheap, fun getaway for our northern neighbors. Now, it feels like financial abuse. The emptiness of the fashion show mall proves that these international guests have done the math, and they have decided to stay home. The foreign money that kept the luxury stores afloat is drying up, leaving a void that the struggling American middle class simply cannot fill. Part 5. The F1 Paradox and Urban Hostility. You might look at the headlines and ask, but what about the mega events? What about Formula One? Doesn't that bring billions? This brings us to the F1 paradox, and it is perhaps the most frustrating reason why the fashion show mall feels like a detention center rather than a playground. In a desperate bid to court the global elite, city planners have inadvertently declared war on the pedestrian experience, engaging in what urban planners call hostile architecture. To accommodate a 3-day race for billionaires, the city turned the Las Vegas Strip into a literal construction zone for months on end. They erected miles of concrete barriers, chain-link fences, and temporary bridges that completely severed the natural flow of foot traffic. They even cut down trees and blocked views to ensure no one could see the track for free. The message to the average tourist was clear. Unless you are spending $10,000 on a ticket, you are in the way. This created a prison effect that psychologically scarred the visitor experience. Tourists who wanted to walk from their hotels to the fashion show mall faced a maze of detours, dust, and dead ends. What used to be an impulsive, fun shopping trip became a 40-minute ordeal of navigating scaffolding and noise. The result? People gave up. They stayed in their hotels or went off-strip to places like Chinatown or Summerlin. By barricading the streets to serve the 1%, Vegas strangled the businesses that rely on the 99%. The race cars may have been fast, but they drove the regular customers and their wallets right out of town, creating a long-term resentment that doesn't vanish just because the race is over. Part 6. The luxury retail death spiral. There has long been a dangerous myth in economics that says, don't worry about the middle class, the rich will always spend. That safety net has just snapped. The most damning evidence of the fashion show mall's decline is the retreat of Saks Fifth Avenue. Its failure here triggers a psychological phenomenon known as the death spiral of aspiration. Here is the subtle truth about the retail ecosystem. Luxury malls don't just survive on billionaires, they survive on the aspirational shopper. This is the person making $70,000 or $80,000 a year who saves up to buy that one Gucci belt or that one Saks handbag to feel successful. That customer has been wiped out by inflation. Their disposable income has been eaten alive by rent, groceries, and insurance. But now, even the truly wealthy are pulling back. This is the reverse wealth effect. When the rich see the stock market wobble and real estate stall, they stop spending to preserve capital. In retail theory, a store like Saks is called an anchor tenant. They are supposed to be the gravity that holds the mall together. When an anchor tenant retreats, it sends a shockwave through the entire complex. It tells the other luxury brands, there is no blood left in this stone. It turns the mall from a prestige destination into a clearance center in the eyes of the consumer. We are witnessing a total collapse of the retail ecosystem. The budget shopper is broke. The international shopper is priced out. And now, the aspirational wealthy are hoarding their cash. There is literally no one left to buy the goods, and the empty storefronts are the inevitable, tragic result. Part 7. The final verdict. The credit crunch endgame. Finally, we arrive at the verdict. The root cause that ties all of this together. Why is this happening now? Why is the abandonment accelerating despite the stock market hitting highs? The answer lies in your wallet. The credit crunch endgame. For decades, Las Vegas has operated on a simple premise. Come here and spend tomorrow's money today. It is a city built on credit cards, personal loans, and easy debt. But the banking system has just slammed the brakes. We are in the midst of a silent banking crisis where liquidity has evaporated. Following the regional bank failures, major institutions are tightening their lending standards at the fastest rate since 2008. Credit limits are being slashed, and interest rates on credit cards have spiked to over 25%. This destroys the revenge travel phenomenon we saw after the pandemic. That boom was funded by excess savings and cheap credit. The savings are gone, and the credit is now prohibitively expensive. The average visitor to the fashion show mall isn't spending cash, they are spending credit. When that credit line gets cut off, or when the monthly payment becomes too terrifying, the fun money disappears instantly. The empty corridors of this mall are a microcosm of a cashless economy that has run out of runway. When you see those locked doors at 11 a.m., realize that it is not just a scheduling change. It is the sound of the American consumer maxing out. The party was funded by debt, and the bill has finally come due. The America's playground we knew is becoming an economic desert because the financial water, the credit, has been turned off at the source. So, when you put all the pieces together, the picture is terrifyingly clear. From the desolate silence at 11 a.m. to the boarded-up Starbucks that used to be a gold mine. From the 15,000 Verizon employees who can no longer afford a vacation to the Canadians who have stopped flying south. We have seen how the obsession with F1 turned the Strip into a prison for pedestrians, and how even the luxury giants like Saks are quietly packing their bags. This is not a temporary dip. This is a fundamental restructuring of the Las Vegas economy. The corporations that run this city forgot the most basic rule of hospitality. You cannot build an empire by disrespecting your customers. They turned their heart into a spreadsheet, chasing billionaires while locking out the millions of ordinary people who built this city. They squeezed us with fees, blocked our paths with construction, and ignored our financial reality. Now, staring at the empty halls of the fashion show mall, they are finally paying the price for that arrogance. Now I want to turn it over to you. Are you one of the people who has given up on Las Vegas? Have you felt the pinch of the prices, the hostility of the construction, or simply decided that it's just not worth it anymore? I want to hear your story. Leave a comment down below and tell me if you think this city can recover, or if the golden age of Vegas is gone forever. If you want to keep exposing the economic reality that the mainstream news won't touch, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.